From the moment Victoria took her first breath, the world around her trembled. She was no ordinary child. Her face, more beautiful than anything nature had ever crafted, carried a terrible curse. Anyone who laid eyes upon it would meet an instant and tragic fate. It all began in the hospital where she was born. The nurses, overwhelmed by the sight of her delicate features, collapsed to the ground, lifeless. The doctors, who had welcomed countless newborns into the world, gasped in awe before their bodies turned cold. Even visitors who wandered too close to the delivery room perished in seconds, their faces frozen in expressions of astonishment and terror. Only 2 people survived that fateful day, her parents. They were spared, not because they were stronger or wiser, but because they alone loved her unconditionally. Yet, even as they cradled their newborn daughter, fear gripped their hearts. What kind of child had they brought into this world? Was she a gift or a curse? Determined to protect her and the world from the dreadful power she carried, Victoria's parents made a painful decision. She would never be allowed to live a normal life. No school, no friends, no moments of carefree laughter in a park. Instead, she would be hidden away from society, locked inside the walls of their home, where no curious eyes could ever set upon her face. Her mother, a woman of quiet resilience, became her only teacher. Victoria was homeschooled, her days filled with books and lessons that far surpassed what any child her age should comprehend. She was brilliant, absorbing knowledge at a pace that stunned even her parents. By the age of 10, she could solve complex equations that would leave seasoned scholars scratching their heads. By 13, she had devoured more books than most people read in a lifetime. But intelligence, no matter how extraordinary, could not fill the void in her heart. Loneliness became her silent companion. She watched from the windows as other children played outside, their laughter echoing through the air. She dreamed of friendships, of conversations that weren't with characters in books, of a life where she didn't have to hide. But dreams were dangerous. She knew the truth: if anyone ever saw her, they would die. Years passed, and Victoria's isolation grew heavier. She longed for more than just knowledge. She wanted to live, to experience the world beyond the walls that confined her. And though her parents loved her, she could see the sorrow in their eyes, the silent pain of raising a daughter who could never be embraced by society. But fate had a way of intervening. On her 18th birthday, her parents sat her down, their faces solemn yet hopeful. "Victoria," her mother said gently, "we can't keep you hidden forever." It was time for her to step into the world, to face the unknown, and to uncover whether she was meant to be a part of it or remain a shadow, forever unseen. Victoria had spent her entire life hidden from the world, but that was about to change. On her 18th birthday, her parents made a decision that filled her with both excitement and fear. She would attend university. They knew they couldn't keep her locked away forever. She was too brilliant to be confined to a house, too eager to learn, and too desperate to experience something beyond books and solitude. But the danger remained. Her face, as mesmerizing as it was, had the power to kill anyone who looked at it. To protect herself and those around her, Victoria wrapped her face tightly in layers of cloth, leaving only her eyes visible. As she stepped onto the university campus for the first time, she felt the weight of 1,000 stares pressing down on her. Students whispered as she walked past, their curiosity evident. "Why is she covering her face?" one student murmured. "Maybe she has a disease," another guessed. "She's definitely hiding something," someone else added. Victoria ignored them, focusing on her steps, reminding herself of why she was there. She wasn't at university to make friends or seek approval. She was there to learn. Despite the rumors, one thing became clear. Victoria was a genius. She aced every test, completed assignments before deadlines, and stunned professors with her intelligence. Her mind was a fortress, a place of clarity and focus, untouched by the opinions of others. But brilliance didn't protect her from cruelty. Among those who took an interest in her was Bella, the self-proclaimed queen of the university. Bella was beautiful, wealthy, and had an insatiable hunger for attention. She enjoyed making others feel small, and Victoria, with her mysterious appearance and undeniable intellect, became her favorite target. At first, the taunts were subtle whispers in the hallways, snickers from across the room, but soon Bella became more direct. One afternoon, she stood in Victoria's path, arms crossed and a smirk playing on her lips. "Why do you always cover your face?" she sneered. "Are you hiding something ugly under there?" A crowd gathered, eager to witness the confrontation. Victoria met Bella's gaze calmly. "I bet you don't want to see my real face," she said softly. Bella laughed. "Oh, come on. If you're not ugly, prove it. Show everyone what you look like." Victoria shook her head. "Trust me, you don't want to see." But Bella wasn't satisfied. She saw Victoria's refusal as weakness, as fear. And fear, to Bella, was an invitation to push harder. Every day, she would taunt Victoria. "If you're not scared, take that cloth off your face," she'd say, loud enough for everyone to hear. Students would laugh behind her, enjoying the show. Victoria remained silent, choosing not to respond. But she knew one thing for certain: no matter how much Bella pushed, she could never give in. The price of revealing her face was far too great. Bella's curiosity turned into obsession. She couldn't accept that Victoria refused to reveal her face. To her, it was a challenge, a mystery that needed solving. And Bella loved being the one in control. She wanted to expose Victoria, humiliate her, and prove to everyone that she was nothing special. But no matter how much she taunted, mocked, or pressured Victoria, the girl never wavered. The cloth remained in place, her secret intact. This only fueled Bella's determination. If Victoria wouldn't show her face willingly, Bella would make it happen by force. That's when she came up with a plan. Bella knew she needed someone to get close to Victoria, someone she would trust enough to let her guard down. And who better than Joshua, the most handsome and popular boy at the university? Girls adored him, guys respected him, and his effortless charm made it easy for him to win anyone over. One afternoon, Bella approached Joshua with a sly smile. She sat next to him during lunch, flipping her hair dramatically. "Joshua," she purred, "I need you to do something for me." Joshua raised an eyebrow. "What now, Bella? Another one of your tricks?" Bella grinned. "Oh, this one is good. It's about Victoria." Joshua frowned. "The girl with the face covering?" "Yes, her," Bella said eagerly. "I want you to get close to her, make her trust you. Then, when she falls asleep, take off her face covering and snap a picture. Send it to me, and I'll take care of the rest." Joshua hesitated. "Why do you care so much? She's not bothering anyone." Bella rolled her eyes. "She thinks she's better than us, hiding like some mysterious queen. I bet she's just covering up something ugly. I want to show everyone what she really looks like." Joshua wasn't sure. He wasn't a fan of Bella's cruel games, but he also knew how persuasive she could be. Saying no to Bella wasn't easy. She always got what she wanted. After some thought, he finally agreed. It seemed harmless enough. Victoria was quiet, lonely, and likely desperate for friendship. How hard could it be to win her trust? The next day, Joshua put his plan into action. He started sitting near Victoria in lectures, acting interested in what the professors were saying. At first, she ignored him, suspicious of his sudden attention. But Joshua was patient. He would smile at her, hold the door open when she walked by, and even sit beside her in the library. "Hey." He greeted her one day, his voice friendly. "You're Victoria, right?" She hesitated before replying. "Yes." Joshua leaned back in his chair, pretending to be casual. "I've seen you around. You seem interesting. I thought we could be friends." Victoria frowned. Nobody ever wanted to be her friend. People either avoided her or ridiculed her. "Why would you want to be friends with someone like me?" she asked. Joshua chuckled. "Why not? You're smart and you don't follow the crowd." "That's cool." Victoria didn't respond. She didn't trust him, but he wasn't like the others. He didn't laugh at her or make her feel small. Still, she kept her guard up. Over the next few days, Joshua continued his act. He would walk with her after class, bring her small snacks, and listen to her talk about books and science. Slowly, Victoria began to let her walls down. She started believing that maybe, just maybe, she had finally found a friend. Little did she know, Joshua's kindness was nothing but a lie. Victoria had never known friendship before, but kind, charming Joshua made her feel seen. He listened to her talk about books, laughed at her rare jokes, and always made sure she had someone to sit next to in class. Slowly, she let her guard down, convincing herself that maybe he was different. Maybe he wasn't like the others. One evening, Joshua suggested they study together in her dorm. "You're so smart, Victoria," he said with a grin. "I could really use your help with these assignments." Victoria hesitated. She never allowed anyone into her personal space. But Joshua had been nothing but kind. Against her better judgment, she nodded. "Okay." When he arrived, she even made tea for him, something she had never done for anyone before. But as she turned her back to grab a book, Joshua slipped a small packet of powder, something Bella had given him, into her cup. It was a sleeping drug. "Here," he said, handing her the tea. "You deserve a break." Victoria smiled behind her cloth and took a sip. They talked for a while, but soon her eyelids grew heavy. "I think I'm getting sleepy," she murmured, yawning. Joshua nodded, pretending to be concerned. "You've been working so hard. Get some rest. I'll pack up and leave." Victoria lay down, still holding on to the hope that she had found a true friend. Within minutes, she was fast asleep. Joshua's heart pounded. This was his chance. He had done what Bella asked. Now, all he had to do was remove the cloth, take a picture, and send it to her. But as he reached out, his hands shook. Victoria had been nothing but kind to him. She trusted him. For a moment, he hesitated, but Bella's voice echoed in his mind. "Take off her face cover and get a photo." With trembling fingers, he began untying the knots of the cloth. One by one, they loosened. His breath quickened as he pulled the final piece away. And then he saw her face. Joshua froze. Victoria wasn't ugly. She was far from it. Her beauty was beyond anything he had ever seen, something ethereal, almost otherworldly. It wasn't just her features. It was an overwhelming presence, a force too powerful for words. Then it hit him. A wave of darkness surged through his body. His chest tightened, His vision blurred, his legs buckled. He gasped for air, but it was no use. The curse had taken hold. In mere seconds, Joshua collapsed to the floor, lifeless. A few minutes later, Victoria stirred. Groggy, she sat up, rubbing her eyes. That's when she noticed it, her face covering lying on the floor. Her heart sank. And then she saw Joshua. He lay motionless, eyes wide open, frozen in terror. "Joshua?" she whispered, crawling toward him. She shook his shoulder, but he didn't move. Her breath hitched. No, no, no. Tears streamed down her face as realization struck. He had seen her, and now he was gone. "Why did you do this, Joshua?" she cried. "Why didn't you listen?" The noise attracted attention. Someone knocked on her door. Then another knock, louder this time. When the door swung open, a group of students screamed. Security was called. The police arrived shortly after. They found Victoria sitting beside Joshua's body, her face once again hidden beneath the cloth. "What happened here?" an officer demanded. Victoria's voice trembled. "He saw my face. That's all it takes." The officers exchanged glances. Some of them had heard the rumors about her but had dismissed them as exaggerations. Now, faced with the eerie reality before them, they weren't so sure. After speaking with her parents and piecing together the events, the police made a surprising decision. "This isn't murder," one officer murmured to his colleague. "She's not doing this on purpose. It's something else." Victoria was released that night. But as she walked out of the police station with her parents, her heart ached. "I don't want to hurt anyone else," she whispered. "Maybe I should stay away from everyone forever." Her mother held her tightly. "You can't hide from the world forever, Victoria," she said softly. But as Victoria looked up at the night sky, she wasn't so sure. For the first time in her life, she truly believed she was meant to be alone. After Joshua's tragic death, Victoria returned to school, but something had changed. The whispers followed her everywhere. Students stared, some with fear, others with curiosity. Though she never removed her face covering, the rumors had spread like wildfire. "She's cursed," some whispered. "She killed him just by showing her face," others murmured. "Maybe she's not even human," a few speculated. Victoria did her best to ignore them. She focused on her studies, determined to finish what she had started. But there was one person who wasn't about to let her move on so easily: Bella. From the moment Victoria stepped back onto campus, Bella was waiting. "Well, well, well," Bella sneered as Victoria entered the library. "Look who's back, the ugly killer." Victoria clenched her fists, but didn't respond. Bella smirked. "Your rich parents must have paid off the police to let you go. That's the only reason you're not in jail right now." Students around them stopped what they were doing, their eyes darting between the two girls. Everyone knew Bella loved drama, and they were eager to see how this confrontation would unfold. Victoria took a deep breath and met Bella's gaze. Her voice was calm but sharp. "At least I'm not like you, Bella." Bella crossed her arms. "And what exactly am I like?" Victoria smirked. "A desperate girl who throws herself at every boy in this school, hoping someone will finally give her attention." Gasps echoed through the library. Bella's face turned red, but Victoria wasn't done yet. "You act like you're better than everyone else, but the truth is, you've been here for years and still haven't graduated," Victoria continued. "Maybe if you spent more time in class and less time chasing boys, you wouldn't be stuck in the same place, watching everyone move on while you stay behind." Laughter erupted from the crowd. Some students covered their mouths in shock. Others openly giggled at Bella's humiliation. Bella's nostrils flared. "You think you're so special just because you hide behind that cloth?" she spat. Victoria shrugged. At least I don't pretend to be someone I'm not. Unlike you, who acts like a rich girl when everyone knows your parents are struggling in a tiny village. More whispers filled the room. Bella's friends exchanged nervous glances, some even stepping away from her. Oh, and let's not forget, Victoria added with a smirk. Everyone knows how you fund your so-called big girl lifestyle. Sleeping with sugar daddies doesn't make you rich, Bella. It just makes you pathetic. The room exploded with laughter. Phones were out, recording every second of Bella's downfall. Bella's hands trembled with rage. You don't know what you're talking about, she shrieked. Victoria stepped closer. If I'm nothing, then what does that make you? A jealous, bitter little girl who can't stand to see someone else shine. Bella's face burned with humiliation. She turned and stormed out of the library, her so-called friends hesitating before following her. As she disappeared, students began clapping. Finally, someone put her in her place, one of them said. Victoria took a deep breath. For the first time, she felt like she had taken control of her own story, and it felt good. Despite the tension at school, Victoria remained focused on her studies. But soon, a new presence arrived on campus. Dennis. He was tall, confident, and effortlessly charming. The moment he walked through the gates, every girl took notice. Bella, still reeling from her humiliation, immediately set her sights on him. I must have him, she declared to her friends. But no matter how hard she tried flipping her hair, wearing her tightest dresses, or pretending to need his help, Dennis ignored her completely. Instead, he was drawn to Victoria. Unlike everyone else, Dennis didn't care about the rumors. He found her intelligence fascinating and her kindness refreshing. He started sitting with her during breaks, talking to her about books, life, and dreams. Over time, their friendship deepened, and Victoria felt something she had never experienced before: genuine connection. One evening, under a tree on campus, Dennis finally spoke the words that would change everything. I love you, Victoria, he said. I don't care about your face covering. You are special to me. Tears welled in her eyes. But what if I'm ugly? What if you regret it? Dennis smiled. I don't need to see your face to know who you are. When he accidentally brushed against her veil and it slipped off, she panicked. But Dennis didn't die. For the first time, someone saw her face and lived. The curse was broken. Victoria could hardly believe it. Dennis had seen her face, and he was still alive. For years, she had lived in fear, convinced that her beauty was a curse, a force too powerful for anyone to survive. But now, standing in front of Dennis, she realized something astonishing. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. The curse will only break when someone truly loves you for who you are. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at Dennis. You're alive, she whispered. Dennis chuckled softly. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Victoria covered her trembling lips. Because everyone who sees me, she couldn't finish the sentence. Dennis reached out, gently cupping her face. Maybe they weren't the right people. Maybe the curse was never about your beauty, it was about love. At that moment, everything changed. Victoria rushed home and told her mother what had happened. Mom, she said, her voice shaking with emotion. Dennis saw me, and nothing happened. I think the curse is broken. Her mother gasped, tears of joy filling her eyes. She pulled Victoria into a tight embrace. Oh, my darling, God has answered our prayers. For the first time in her life, Victoria felt free. The next morning, she made a bold decision. She walked onto the university campus without her face covering. The moment she stepped through the gates, whispers filled the air. Is that Victoria? She's beautiful. She was hiding this all along? All eyes were on her, but this time she wasn't afraid. And then there was Bella. She had just stepped out of the cafeteria when she saw Victoria. Her mouth dropped open in shock. This is what you've been hiding? Bella stammered. Victoria smiled calmly. Surprised? Bella's face twisted with jealousy. You think this changes anything? You're still nothing. Victoria met her gaze steadily. Maybe next time, you'll think twice before judging someone you don't know. The students around them clapped and cheered. Bella, humiliated once again, turned and stormed off. But this time, no one followed her. Victoria stood tall, embracing the life she had once feared. She was no longer a girl hiding behind a veil, no longer the subject of cruel whispers or taunts. She was free. As she walked across campus, Dennis caught up to her, slipping his hand into hers. Are you ready for this? He asked with a smile. Victoria squeezed his hand. I've never been more ready. Her journey had been long, filled with pain, loss, and loneliness. But now, as she faced the world without fear, she realized that she had finally stepped into her true self. For the first time in her life, Victoria wasn't running. She was living.